Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome. The perils of complacency. What the hell does that mean? Well, stay tuned to find out. Yeah, what does complacency mean? The perils of complacency. Well, actually, perils is the danger, right? My background looks the same as when I'm somewhere else in my office. I'm currently not there. I'm in a friend's office, a partner of mine, in a different province, different time zone by about an hour. And I'm certainly not complacent here because even though my background looks the same to anybody watching this who's seen it before, what I'm looking at is quite a bit different. Matter of fact, I was looking at the wrong screen. My video coaches would be giving me heck if they were here watching me today, because I was looking up here instead of at the camera at you. So forgive me for that. What made me think about complacency, not because I'm where I'm at, but on the way to coming to where I'm at, I was on a road trip. I was on the road for about 11, 12 hours driving on and off for that period of time from Alberta to Manitoba, which is in Canada. And that's where I kind of live most of the time. I was listening to an old CD from way back when. I was an avid reader of the Success magazine, and at one point in time, they were publishing it and providing you with an audio CD. And I thought, well, rather than play around with my phone and get in, I wanted to reduce the possibilities of distracted driving. So I brought a few CDs. So one of them was a Success magazine one. And Darren Hardy, actually, in this one, who is the original, well, not the original author, editor, publisher, because that was Orson Swett Martin way back decades ago, but just a couple of decades back, Darren Hardy took that on. And in this particular CD, he was talking about complacency, and he was doing that conversation because he was about to make some change from being the publishing editor of Success magazine and passing his baton on to somebody else. And he talked a little bit at the beginning of it about complacency. And what it reminded me of is, in my life, I have been victim of complacency. And how's that shown up for me? Well, a lot of the career has been in the sales profession. And in the sales profession, we often have quotas, budgets, and targets quarterly and annually and daily, weekly as well. And what I found was to be true for me, and Darren talked about this, which is what reminded me, is that often what happens is once we arrive at a goal, we flatten out. And that flatten out point is the complacency. And in the complacency, some people will call it laziness, but I think what is more accurate is that we don't have something new to look forward to. We've put all of our focus and energy and ambition to arrive at the particular goal, target, objective, budget that we were looking to attain. And we don't have a new horizon to move beyond. So don't feel bad. That's kind of where we get to once we've gotten what we've gone after. However, all of the gurus and the people that I've studied say that we don't have to stay there, and we don't have to be at the bottom of the barrel and the worst thing in life to get inspired to take action. And we don't have to be unhappy to take action. So isn't that an interesting twist on what most people talk about? At least I thought it was. We can actually make change happen when we're in a state of dissatisfaction, but still being happy. So we're happy with the way life is. We're happy with the relationships we're in. We're happy with the career path we're on. but we're dissatisfied because we know there's always another opportunity to get to another level, to do more, be more, and have more. And it's not in the having really that's most important in my viewpoint. It's the becoming, who it is you need to become in order to have that new have. And that could be an experience. It could be a materialistic thing, larger house, more toys. Those things are all kind of nice, but they're not they're temporal in nature, which means that once you get them, again, become complacent and maybe a little bit dissatisfied. And if you're not dissatisfied, then you'll be complacent. And if you're complacent, you're kind of flatten out. So what I wanted to do is share some insights and ideas around that today. I've got a couple of books spread out. It's just kind of an interesting thing, being out of my own office and working out of another physical place. It's put me a little bit out of my comfort zone. I'm not complacent. Isn't that an interesting place to be when you're talking about complacency? So one of the things I do on a regular basis is I use a journal, a variety of different ones. This is one I'm using currently right now. I threw a few notes in there in around Darren Hardy's comment about complacency. And what it reminded me about was in the, I'm going to date myself now, but that's okay. I've done it before. I'm actually a fun date, by the way. But I'll keep my day job. I was selling townhouse condominiums, and I wanted to be successful at it. I wanted to compete with myself, and so I did that. And I had learned through a really terrific book about setting goals. And goals is the key to breaking out of complacency, having something to look forward to that's out of the realms of possibility, but not impossible, if that makes sense. And one of the things I learned in that particular book, and it was by Alan Akins, I believe, was the author, and I forget the title of the name, but it's an old book. Regardless, it was about writing goals and having a purpose and major definite purpose, or your why, as Cynic talks about, which is really the same thing, purpose. And selling those townhouses, I came up with this idea out of this book that I was just mentioning, and it was to come up with three levels of goal: good, great, and wow. The good would be what you should make as far as a target, because the company, that's what they want you to achieve. And then the other two should be something that you really want to go after, not what you have to go after, but what you want to go after. So we tend to not go after the things that we have to. And if you're not familiar with that concept, if you come across something in your life and it's done on a have to basis, think of it in terms of you want to do it. So change it from a have to a want to, and see what happens in your life. Anyway, that's a segue. Let me come back, or a tangent. Let me come back to where I was talking about. So by having a good, great, and wow horizon to look forward to, just like on this trip I took to get to where I'm at in Manitoba, as I drove another kilometer, I could see something different. And my goal was to get to my arrival point within 11 hours of my departure. And I was pretty close to hitting that. But along the way, there were some other goals and things I needed to get done. And that was to make sure I had gas and make sure I had nutrition and fluids to make sure I was not going to die of hunger on the trip. That wasn't going to happen. But those are things we need to look after. So I had this look forward to, which created the energy to continue on with the trip. So when we set good, great, and wow goals, it's kind of the same sort of thing. If you're looking at a monthly goal and sales targets, and you set a good at, say, 5 units, and great would be at 12 units, and wow would be at 24 units. I just use units just because it's all encompassing. You might not sell a product, it might be a service. Just think of it in relationship to what it is you're representing there. If it's a sales product, but it could be in your personal life. It could be dropping weight or gaining weight or muscle mass, or a skill set in some other area, maybe cooking or keyboarding. Could be whatever it was, whatever it is, doesn't really matter to me, but it should matter to you because it's your goal. It's your journey. So good, great, and wow. Now, one of the keys to this is once you've established what those parameters are and the measurable component would be, is to give yourself a reward for every milestone that you complete. And once you completed the milestone, make sure that you honor yourself by getting the reward that you had predetermined. So in my case, I did this with townhouses, as I mentioned earlier, and the good, great, wow goals were 3, 5, and I believe it was 10, the last one, in a month. That was the number of townhomes that were sold and approved, and well, they weren't delivered. People didn't move into them, but all of the paperwork, all the agreements, all of the funding was completed and in place. And once that was done, I was able to honor myself and get the rewards. So the rewards for me were not monumentous. One was a silk tie. I'd never had a silk tie. They were always man-made fibers. And I thought, well, successful people wear silk ties. So I got the silk tie, by the way. It was a nice dark blue with tiny polka dots. So it went really well with a number of suits I was wearing at the time. And it felt really good, not only because I could say I achieved it, because I set a goal. It felt good because it was high quality material, and it wasn't just man-made synthetic material. Anyway, so that was pretty exciting. And so the next one was the grade goal. And in the grade goal, I'd never had a cross pen, certainly not a gold pen. And what I found was that it feels better, and you feel more competent, I think, and more successful with the pen. So I got the pen. And the last one was a leather attache case. I had a briefcase, but not a leather, classical, classy, professional looking attache case. Well, I got all three in 1 month, which was exciting in itself. And it was something I learned along the way was by having those milestones, it kept the energy and the tension there. And there was no complacency that month. But the next month, oh my gosh, that was a totally different month. I didn't set any goals. I thought I was automatically successful, didn't need to set any goals. So the next month I didn't set any goals. Guess what happened? Not much. I didn't make any sales the next month. So that was an eye-opener for me. So it's something that if you want to continue to grow and become better at something, don't get stuck in the world of complacency. Always have something to look forward to. That doesn't mean I was unhappy the next month. I was kind of disappointed in myself because I wasn't able to sell anything in terms of the townhouses I was representing at that time. But I wasn't unhappy with myself, but I was dissatisfied with the outcomes. So that's a little tidbit that I've learned, and I would like to share with you in terms of complacency. And thanks to Darren Hardy and other people along the way, reminded me not to get stuck in complacency. And I'm currently at a place like that right now in my career. So I've been looking at sort of what can I do to have the next biggest thing that I could become, do, and have. So I'm working on that, and I'm going to take the lesson I've shared with you and a reminder of what I went through to do that. And something I learned last 2020 was from Pat Hazel, who has a podcast, really a really interesting dude, funny as hell, and very creative. He came up with, yes, you expect sales, but I'm not only in sales. I do sales. I do sales training and sales coaching, but I also work with entrepreneurs, business owners, and C-suite executives to create success. So I encourage you to expect success in your life and turn problems into, it says on here, change, challenge, and commitment. So change a problem to a challenge and turn it into a possibility or an opportunity. And then set 3 horizon type goals for yourself to keep the creative juices so that you can become whoever it is you want to be. So that when you get at the end of life, you're empty. There's no regrets. You've done everything that you wanted to do in your life, in all areas of your life. Just wanted to share those tidbits today from a little place in Manitoba, I'm in Swan River, Manitoba. And it's great hanging out with my peers and my friends. My buddy is upstairs doing his thing. Ben Pritchett, him and I will be hanging out on Friday at a one-day virtual conference, and I'm looking forward to that. I have a few people have popped in here today. I'm reaching over because different office. Randy, my friend, you always pop in and support me. I love you, man. Randy's a terrific road warrior, and he's listening to this stuff, but he lives this. He doesn't need to listen to it, but he does anyway. And then here's Lisa. Look at that. Are you still in Mexico? This lovely lady turned her wish into a reality. In Canada, we have winter, and it's really freaking cold sometimes. And yes, she's still, I just got the answer. Yes, she's still in Mexico. I'm likely going to be there in October in the Cancun area. Maybe we should connect. Anyway, she's an interesting, lovely lady. She's had a challenge, and she's more than a challenge. She's a mom, and she's raising 3 wonderful kids. And going back to winter, she decided that she hated winter more than me, because she doesn't have to endure the winters anymore. She had an idle wish, which she turned into a goal, and it was less than 12 months. Her goal was to get out of winter and be able to live in a tropical country for 6 months, avoiding the winters. And here she is saying, yes, I'm still in Mexico. So she's had a lot of challenges. I'm not going to tell you what they are, but what I'm going to tell you is that she didn't see the challenges as a problem for a long time. She may have saw them as a problem initially, but she turned them into a challenge and made a commitment to resolve them, even to some areas of her health were impacted, and she overcame that. There's a whole bunch of things. If you ever get a chance to have a conversation and connect with Lisa, I would highly recommend you do it. She's a wonderful, interesting woman and human being. Look what she's saying here. She said it turned, wait, I can't read properly. Turned it all around because of you. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. But you know what? You had the dream, and you had the desire. You certainly weren't complacent, which is what I was talking about today. And you took that energy and made it happen. And you've been living in Mexico, the Cancun area, ever since you set the goal and achieved it. It was less than 12 months from the time you actually got serious about it, turned it from an idle wish into something that you really, really wanted. And as a result of that, you don't have to endure the winters like I do. Well, I don't have to either. I can set the goal to be in Mexico. I guess I don't want to be there as strongly as you do, but I will be there in October. Anyway, thanks for popping in. As you know, I try to keep these to about 15 to 20 minutes. But before I leave, I want to share something. Got to find it here on my screen. And let me bring it up. It's over here. I want you guys to all remember to share this out with people and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you're watching this on a replay, go #replay and let me know. If you know somebody that you, and actually maybe I should have Lisa on as a guest one time. Maybe she'll do that, and she can tell you all the things that I'm not going to tell you. It's really it's her story, not mine. And that is, oh, hang on guys, got to get rid of something here. Remember that the big you in wonderful, is to remind you that you are actually unique and you are wonderful. So don't you ever forget it. So go out there and have a wonderful rest of the week, and we'll see you on the next episode of The Business Renovator.